a transnational illicit economy which is even less regulated, even less policed.
And they are making enormous amounts of money.
Despite releasing flashy videos like this on X, the Peruvian National Police are losing a war. They're fighting a deadly trade that's unleashed a wave of violence across the country. It's not drugs, it's gold. As the price of gold hits all-time highs and a glut of cocaine floods global markets, gangs across South America have pivoted from selling coke to the precious metal beneath their feet.
Today, gold is their most lucrative business.
So is gold the new cocaine? And how is it fueling violence elsewhere?
It is worsening violent extremism, armed conflict, and organized crime.
We've seen the per ounce price of gold increase nearly tenfold in the last 20 years. And that's catalyzed this vast, modern criminal gold rush across the length of Latin America.
In Colombia and Peru, gangs are now making more money from gold than from drugs. Gold and cocaine may not sound like they have much in common, but for the gangs, the two industries complement each other nicely.
The infrastructure they've already set up to transport cocaine, the hidden airstrips, the routes, the corrupt contacts of police, customs officials, they're using that entire infrastructure to streamline the export of illegal gold out of the region.
In Colombia, established cartels have a stranglehold on illegal gold mining, but in Peru, it's fueling crime of a more disorganized kind, although just as deadly. In early May 2025, the bodies of 13 security contractors are found in a gold mine in northern Peru. At around the same time, this disturbing video starts circulating on social media. It shows the men blindfolded, stripped, and bound. One can be heard telling his captors that he's 17 and that he's only working there to support his mother. The attackers keep filming as they execute the men one by one. They shoot them in the neck, so they can be identified as a warning to others.
The attacks we saw on the Poderosa mine in Patas in Peru is part of a larger trend. Illegal miners, gangs invading, taking over parts of legal gold mines, and then exporting their gold for themselves and holding on to the profits.
The violence is so bad, the region's been under a state of emergency for nearly 2 years. The Peruvian government has dispatched soldiers to try to bring order to the chaos. But elsewhere in Latin America, the gold gangs don't fight the army, they work with it.
Deep in the Venezuelan jungle, a state-sponsored network of gangs are fighting over gold mines.
Nicolas Maduro, Venezuela's despot, uses his country's gold to buy loyalty from the army.
Maduro keeps the generals happy by giving them an opportunity to take part themselves in this lucrative trade of illegal mining and illegal gold smuggling. It's not only in Venezuela, it's also true in Nicaragua. There is also this sort of deal between a government that is in control but needs to stay in control by doing deals with its own army.
And as well as propping up dictators and financing cartels, illegal gold mining is also proving disastrous to many of Latin America's indigenous populations. Brazil's Yanomami are dying of disease and malnutrition caused by wildcat miners. In the past 2 years, illegal gold mining has destroyed over 4,000 hectares of indigenous territories in Brazil alone.
It's been cataclysmic. Boats will arrive to their rivers, they would dump mercury in, and all the fish would die. People wouldn't be able to subsist off of their traditional diets. In some cases, out of fear, communities would close themselves inside their dwellings for months, just to avoid contact with these often very violent groups.
Laudeco's family has fished here for generations. As the mines spread, the fish began to die. Then many in the local community began to show signs of mercury poisoning.
And it's not just the human cost being paid. The environmental devastation is staggering.
The green of the trees giving way to the scorched orange of illegal mines. A natural treasure being destroyed for financial treasure.
In the south of Peru, illegal mining has destroyed an area of rainforest the size of metropolitan Lima. That's over 45 times the area of Manhattan. It's left scars so big they can be seen from space.
deforestation and illegal mines tend to go together. The same gang that's opening an illegal mine or sending an illegal gold dredging boat down a river dumping mercury may also be clearing forest, razing stretches of Amazon to build coca plantations.
Demand for cocaine has always hurt Latin America, and the region's now paying a high price as the world gobbles up gold as well. But it's not the only continent suffering as gold prices rise.
Of the 5 continents, Africa is well endowed with mineral ores, having rich areas of gold.
How many days must you live in a situation like this? No, guys, we are dead. We are already dead. Please help us. Please, please.
January 10th, 2025. This video is released by a South African miners' rights group. It shows miners trapped by police nearly 2 kilometers underground in an abandoned gold mine. They've been down here for nearly 5 months. The miners are starving, and the bodies of their fellow workers lie next to them.
The police took control of the site at Buffelsfontein and ordered that no food or any other supplies were allowed down to the miners underground. Basically, the order was to starve them until they came to the surface.
After months underground, some of the miners resorted to eating the dead to survive.
I think in the end about 80 bodies were retrieved in that operation, but it is thought that many, many more are still underground.
This is just the latest episode in the fight between the South African government, illegal gold miners, and the gangs that exploit them. Once the world's top gold producer, South Africa is now littered with thousands of abandoned mines. But where the mining companies have moved out, in many cases, violent gangs have moved in.
These men, known as zamazamas or illegal miners, might just be the largest organized crime group in South Africa.
Illegal gold mining isn't new to South Africa, but as the price of gold has soared, competition between gangs has become more intense and more militarized.
Beneath the surface, there really is a battle for control. Explosives, guns, any weapons these gangs can get their hands on are used to seize these mines and keep control of them.
Elsewhere in Africa, armed groups of another kind are cashing in on the high price of gold. But the aim here isn't exploitation, it's domination.
A recent surge of attacks by an al-Qaeda-linked group across Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger signals its growing ambition and influence.
In West Africa, there's a worsening insurgency, and the gold mines are part of the means of these jihadist groups funding themselves. They don't do the mining themselves, but they control the sites. They control the logistics, the transport. They extort communities living nearby.
Together, Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger produce more gold than any other country on the continent, making the small mines that dot the region a lucrative prize for armies.
So what we're seeing is an explosion of affiliates of al-Qaeda, and the illicit gold mining is one of the ways in which they raise funds to wage their terror. They're in competition with forces loyal to the government, either official or militia, competing for the mines.
Like diamonds before it, blood gold is becoming the new main currency of conflict in Africa. But even for countries unaffected by armed insurgents, gold is fueling crime of a different sort. Ghana, Africa's biggest gold producer. For the past 2 decades, tens of thousands of Chinese nationals have moved here to mine gold. They haven't always been welcomed with open arms.
The community is fed up. And in fact, the communities are fed up. They are fed up that they destroy the land, they destroy the water bodies.
The thing is, under Ghanaian law, only Ghanaians are allowed to work small-scale mines. So most Chinese miners are here illegally.
The arrests are part of a crackdown on foreigners engaged in illegal gold mining.
But the real problem isn't improper paperwork. A large proportion of Ghana's gold production comes from small-scale mines, which historically haven't been that mechanized. The equipment the Chinese bring with them is changing that.
The coming in of the Chinese that has resulted in an increase in mechanization, which has increased the degree of environmental degradation, the impacts of health, and in communities.
Excavators have contributed to massive deforestation. Mercury and cyanide, both used heavily in mining, are poisoning Ghana.
They stay in river bodies for a very long time. If this continues for the next 10 to 15 years, Ghana would have to import water from overseas.
As the price of gold keeps rising, this devastation, which some have called ecocide, is set to continue. Ultimately, whether it's in Africa or Latin America, it's unlikely gold will replace cocaine in criminal networks. The two products will coexist, but for now, gold is the more lucrative.
It's not really moving completely away from cocaine and to something else. It's much more that they're doing both.
Gold seekers were stirred to a frenzy by tales of glory holes and rich digging.
I think there's just as much of a human cost of illegal gold as there is with cocaine. People may choose to ignore it or to look away, but they know that the drugs they're consuming are soaked in blood when they come from Latin America. With gold, I think it's easier just to choose to ignore it.
Hopefully, the message will get through that the gold that people buy all over the world, there's a sort of dark side to where some of it's coming from.
Conflict, terrorism financing, other organized crime forms like human trafficking for sexual exploitation, arms trafficking, arms proliferation.
Your new jewelry might have a dirty secret.